There is a painful truth most people avoid until it becomes impossible to ignore. Time alone does not make you better. Sometimes, time only makes your bad habits more automatic. You can spend 1,000 hours on something and still stay exactly where you are, not because you are stupid, but because you kept practicing the wrong version of yourself. Think about the gamer who plays every night, 2 hours after school or work, sometimes more, thousands of matches, endless keyboard smashing, and yet the rank badge barely moves. When he loses, he does not watch the replay. He blames the lag, the teammate, the matchmaking, the keyboard, even the weather. The only thing he never studies is himself. So those hours are not training. They are entertainment with a progress costume. It feels like effort because the body is tired, but the skill was never forced to evolve. Now think about piano. Someone practices for years, follows sheet music perfectly, and can impress the family during dinner. But remove the sheet, ask them to improvise, and suddenly silence enters the room. The problem is not that they practiced piano. The problem is that they practiced only one narrow ability, reading and reproducing what was already written. The same thing happens in the office. A person says, "I have 10 years of experience." But if every project was handled with the same template and no reflection, that is not 10 years. It may be 1 year of experience copied and pasted 10 times. You did not build a deeper brain. You simply built a faster autopilot. So the real question is not how long have you done this? The real question is, what exactly became sharper because of those hours? This is where the famous 10,000-hour rule becomes dangerous when people understand it too simply. They hear the number, but they miss the design behind the number. In Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell made the idea unforgettable. Extraordinary performers usually have massive amounts of practice behind them, but popular culture turned that into a lazy formula. The lazy formula says, just do it long enough and success will appear. But real life does not reward attendance. Real life rewards adaptation. Even the research around deliberate practice points to a stricter truth. Improvement requires focused effort, feedback, correction, and repeated struggle at the edge of your current ability. In other words, practice is not the same as repetition. Repetition asks, can I do this again? Practice asks, can I do this better than yesterday? That is why 1,000 deliberate hours can beat 10,000 careless hours. Not because the number is magical, but because every hour has a job. A deliberate hour has a target. Today, I train positioning. Today, I train listening. Today, I train writing stronger openings. Today, I train one weak link, not my entire ego. Most people fail here because they choose comfort. They repeat what they already know because it produces the pleasant feeling of being competent. But real growth usually feels embarrassing. It feels slow. It exposes your weakness in public, at least in front of yourself. That is why people avoid it. A gamer who truly wants to climb rank does not just play more. They review losses, find the repeated mistake, isolate one mechanic, drill it, then test it again under pressure. The difference is invisible from the outside. Both people may spend 2 hours at the computer, but one is escaping reality, while the other is extracting feedback from reality. A piano learner who wants real freedom does not only replay the same song. They train the ear, chords, rhythm, improvisation, and the ability to recover after a mistake. That learner may sound worse in the beginning because they are not hiding behind a perfect sheet, but after enough deliberate practice, they can actually speak through the instrument. An employee who wants to grow does not simply finish tasks. After each project, they ask, what created value? What created waste? What should become a system? And what should never be repeated? That is why a rookie can sometimes pass a senior person in 2 years. The rookie is not older, but their feedback loop is shorter. Now, this is painful for book lovers too. Reading 100 books can make you feel wise, but if nothing becomes a decision, a system, or a behavior, your life stays the same. Reading without execution is often just borrowed progress. You consume the thinking of another person, but you never pay the price of turning it into your own muscle. So after every book, ask one brutal question. What will I do differently tomorrow morning because I read this? Here is the practical formula. 1,000 deliberate hours equals 4 things repeated honestly. Isolate the skill, raise the difficulty, get feedback, and correct fast. First, isolate the skill. Do not say, I want to be better at work. Say, I want to write clearer reports, or I want to make faster decisions under uncertainty. Second, raise the difficulty just enough. If it is too easy, you sleepwalk. If it is too hard, you panic. Growth lives in the narrow zone between boredom and chaos. Third, get feedback. Feedback can be a teacher, a coach, a replay, a checklist, a score, a customer complaint, or simply a recording of your own performance. Fourth, correct fast. The point of feedback is not to feel guilty. The point is to shorten the distance between mistake and correction. Fourth, correct fast. The point of feedback is not to feel guilty. The point is to shorten the distance between mistake and correction. This is especially important when you are no longer 20. You cannot always win by grinding harder, sleeping less, and pretending your energy is infinite. Arthur Brooks describes a useful shift. Younger people often rely on fast problem solving, while mature people can create value by combining experience, judgment, and patterns. So, if you have been a manager, a trader, a parent, a creator, or a team leader, your past is not useless, but it must be reorganized, not worshipped. For example, an experienced manager learning AI does not need to copy a 20-year-old coder. They can use AI to turn management experience into workflows, SOPs, checklists, and automation. That is deliberate practice for adulthood, not chasing every new skill randomly, but converting old experience into new leverage. Now, why does mindless repetition feel so natural? Because the brain loves saving energy. Once a pattern is familiar, the brain turns it into autopilot. Autopilot is useful for brushing your teeth, but dangerous for building expertise. Expertise requires attention, and attention is expensive. That is why familiar work can make you feel productive while quietly making you stagnant. You are moving, but the direction is circular. The cure is not motivation. Motivation is unreliable. The cure is a training design that makes feedback unavoidable. Make your work visible. Record your performance. Compare before and after. Ask someone better. Build a checklist. Score one tiny behavior. What gets measured can finally be improved. Here is a simple 7-day challenge. Pick one skill you care about. Not a big identity, not a dream. One skill. Every day, train it for 30 focused minutes. Before you start, write the exact weakness. After you finish, write the exact lesson. Do not trust memory. Memory flatters you. On day 7, look back. If you cannot see a repeated mistake, you were not observing. If you can see it, congratulations. You have found the doorway to real improvement. The uncomfortable truth is this: you may not need more time. You may need a better mirror, a smaller target, and the courage to stop pretending repetition is growth. Time does not create experts. Designed time does. And the moment you design your hours, even 1,000 hours can become the beginning of a completely different life. So do not ask only, how long have I been doing this? Ask, What did I deliberately improve today? If this question hits you, welcome to the Boss Club.